All right, well, I have 6:30 Mountain Time, and we have quite a bit of stuff to cover, so don't want to wait too long. Just so everyone is aware, though, we are recording both this main session as well as all of the individual discipline breakout rooms we're doing. So if you know someone who wasn't able to attend, we'll be sure to get the links out both on the USCSA website as well as hopefully on US Ski and Snowboards, and we'll make sure to get that information out to everyone after the presentation as well. So just some housekeeping. So this first session is in a panelist webinar format. So a few of us do have the speaking ability just in case we get any questions. The intent is not to get questions during this first part though. That's what we want to do for the breakout sessions. And in those breakout sessions, we'll have three different rooms. One for alpine ski racing, another for Nordic ski racing, and then a snowboard and free ski breakout session. So we'll put the links up for each of those breakout rooms after we're done with this initial kind of introduction of the different pathways. So again, the intent for this first part is not to take too long, just to give everyone a very quick overview, and then hopefully leave quite a bit of time for the breakout sessions where we can take as many questions as you all have. So without further ado, let me go ahead and start the slideshow. Again, to all the panelists, if you notice anything funky with the screen sharing, or if I start to freeze, feel free to speak up. But anyway, so like I said, hopefully you all are here for the Collegiate Ski and Snowboard Pathways After High School presentation. This is being put on by the US Ski and Snowboard, USCSA, NCAA, and then also with some help from USASA and US Skiing Masters. So just a really quick thing. So this whole presentation was created by what's called the Collegiate Snow Sports Task Force, which was created by US Ski and Snowboard about 4 years ago, with the intent essentially to market all of the different collegiate ski and snowboard pathways and opportunities as broadly as possible. There's a ton of different pathways, and there is definitely a place for everyone in one of them. So again, the emphasis on this is that no single pathway is better than others. We just want to make sure that every athlete is aware and has the information they need to make an informed decision on what they choose to do after high school. So again, at a very high level, I'm not going to read through each of these individual pathways, but in general, after high school, you have three main pathways that you can continue with your sport in. Of course, we all know the US Ski and Snowboard's national teams. Those teams are essentially the highest levels of each sport, and US Ski and Snowboard does sponsor a national team in just about every sport you could think of for snow sports. These national level teams have very high criteria, with the individual criterias published by US Ski and Snowboard generally in the fall timeframe for people to be aware of how to make those teams. US Ski and Snowboard does also offer masters competitions in some disciplines, and these are great ways for other people who have not necessarily made the national team to be able to continue competing throughout adulthood. On the college side, there's again two main pathways. There's NCAA varsity. NCAA varsity is a high level of competition. They sponsor sports in alpine ski racing, Nordic ski racing. For alpine, they have slalom and GS. Nordic, classic, skate, individual, and mass start events are offered. Again, the criteria for making these teams varies a little bit per discipline and per school, which we will talk a little bit more about, especially in the breakout rooms. But again, these teams are generally made up of a lot of high-level athletes, some people who have or are striving to make their national teams as well. Generally, the team rosters are limited based upon school budgets, and so the individual amounts of positions on each team does vary per school per year. USCSA is another collegiate pathway. This includes varsity level as well as club level competitions. USCSA does sponsor competitions in alpine skiing, Nordic skiing, snowboard and free ski. And within snowboard and free ski, we offer freestyle as well as alpine events for snowboard as well. So USCSA kind of spans the entire gamut of abilities and people who are either, again, on the cusp of making a national team to people who have never even raced before. We do offer some FIS level competitions, US ski and snowboard score competitions, and some non-scored USCSA exclusive competitions. Again, the goal with USCSA in general is to be an inclusive organization. We take teams as small as one individual at a school all the way up to 70 plus. So our goal is, again, to let everyone find a place in the school of their choice. So now to get into a little bit specifics about some of the individual disciplines. For Nordic, again, we have the national ski team, which is sponsored by US Ski and Snowboard. Again, these are generally very high-level athletes with about 20 or below FIS points in these events. All national teams are paid coaching staff, and the competitions on these are very high level, including World Cups, US Nationals, Olympics, etc. And generally, when you make these teams, you are in a year-round training program. NCAA varsity, again, we'll talk more specifics about some of these in the breakout sessions, but again, we have a pretty low FIS point profile for some of these athletes. These teams are fully school funded. Some teams do offer athletic scholarships, especially depending upon which division, Division 1 and 2. Some of them do offer it. There are 3 divisions to know about for Nordic skiing. There's RMISA in the West, CCSA in the Midwest central part of the country, and EISA in the East. Most of these teams will compete for spots through carnivals, qualifying up to US Nationals, and some athletes will make NCAA Nationals, and some of those athletes also will qualify for US Nationals. All of these teams have paid coaching staff, and generally, they are involved from late November to April for race season with optional summer training as well. USCSA, again, offers varsity and club level competitions. Varsity obviously will have a lower point profile than most clubs. However, again, we do strive to make sure that there's a home for everyone at our schools. Varsity teams, again, the funding level will change from school to school, but in general, varsity teams have some athletic budgets and are and generally have a pretty significant level of funding, while club teams may have less and may need to fundraise themselves. Teams will qualify through the USCSA circuit for USCSA Nationals as a team. Some athletes may also be able to qualify for US Nationals. Coaching will vary by team. Some will have a paid coaching staff while others are student-led. And again, the fall dry land through the competition season is generally about November to April. For Alpine, again, we all know about the US ski team and the criteria, very competitive. Criteria is generally posted in the fall for how to make the US ski team. Again, paid coaching staff with athletes striving to make the Olympics, year-round training and competition. NCAA varsity, again, a high-level competition with about 25 to 100 point profiles in an event. Interestingly, just to be aware of, so there are only 2 conferences in NCAA for varsity alpine competitions, and that's RMISA in the West and EISA in the East. These teams, again, though, are still striving to qualify for NCAA Nationals through carnivals. A lot of athletes will also compete in the NORAM circuit, in other FIS races, and some will also qualify up to US Ski and Snowboard's US Nationals. Once again, these teams will all have paid coaching staff and a pretty heavy competition and training cycle throughout the entire year. USCSA does offer club and varsity level for alpine as well. Point profiles generally range from 50 to 200, depending on the school and whether it's varsity. Club, however, we have a lot of people who both have low point profiles as well as never have I ever even raced and just want to try it. Again, with the funding levels do vary by school, with some being pretty much fully funded, especially on the varsity side, some club teams needing to raise funds. Teams will qualify through their local competitions for USCSA Nationals. Teams do qualify as a team as opposed to by individual. Occasionally, some athletes will also qualify for US Ski and Snowboard Nationals. And again, coaching will vary. A lot of, especially the varsity level programs, will have a paid coaching staff. Some club teams will also have paid coaching staffs, and many club teams are student-led or have some sort of a hybrid coaching arrangement. For snowboard free ski, this is a slightly different makeup because NCAA does not sponsor snowboard and free skiing at this time. So we still have national ski and snowboard teams, which are sponsored by the US Ski and Snowboard. Again, these are very elite level athletes with the criteria varying a little bit per individual discipline. But again, these athletes will all strive for the highest levels of competitions at the World Cup, due towards Rev Tours, the Olympics, etc. A lot of these, there's also a lot of crossover between US Ski and Snowboard and US ASA, but US ASA is an individual circuit of competitions, which do offer competitions for all age groups, including individuals who are college age and older. They do host a national competition each year. I believe it's almost always taking place in Copper. And that's a really great event with many, many different individual events taking place. There's, again, a lot of crossover between USCSA and USASA as well. In a lot of cases, USCSA teams will compete in USASA events and strive to qualify for USASA nationals. The individual USASA teams are generally club-based. A lot of these teams will have paid coaches, but you can also compete as an individual as well. So for USCSA, we do sponsor snowboard and free ski events. We do have varsity level snowboard and free ski events and a lot of club level teams as well. Similar to the other disciplines, the funding levels will vary based on the school and how much funds available. These teams will, again, qualify as a team for USCSA Nationals. In some cases, they strive to qualify for USASA Nationals as well. And a lot of these teams will have paid coaching staff depending on the level of funding. So just at a very, very high level overview between USCSA and NCAA, again, we're not trying to say one is better than the other, just that they do offer two different pathways. USCSA has the gamut of fully funded varsity teams all the way to club level teams. In general, most USCSA competitions are not FIS or US Ski and Snowboard. However, we do offer some divisions that do offer them. USASA and FIS snowboard and free ski events are also competed at the USCSA level. And in general, a team will qualify as a team to get to our national championship. That differs a little bit from NCAA, where individuals essentially strive to qualify individually and then hopefully field a full team to the NCAA national championship. Again, for NCAA, all NCAA teams are varsity level teams with some level of school funding. In some schools, they do offer scholarships, and all schools are coach-led. So one thing that a lot of people don't necessarily think about when they're weighing their college options is the experience on the team that goes beyond ski and snowboard competition. So in a lot of cases, there are a ton of leadership opportunities afforded to individual members of teams. That can range from being a team captain to being a team president to even starting a team if you're looking to start a team at a school that does not currently have one. These leadership opportunities are incredible. Gives you a lot of experience for your future professional life. You can manage budgets of over $100,000 in some cases. You learn about team management, team organization. Basically, you essentially are learning how to run a small business. So this is something that I can, speaking from my experience, I was a treasurer on my ski team in college. And for almost all of my job interviews, that was the majority of what we talked about, was the experience of being on the ski team and being the treasurer for that team. So this really does pay dividends both while you're on the team as well as afterwards. So definitely something to always think about while you are planning what you want to do in college. So here is just some information. We're not going to pull up any of these videos, but just some links to have in handy if you'd like to watch what the competition levels are at each of these pathways. We have some USCSA Nationals highlights, some of the live broadcast archives, NCAA National broadcast archives, and the USASA National Championship highlight reel as well that showcases what these events do look like at the highest levels of competition in each of these organizations. And then again, finally, just some more information about the different pathways. We have quite a few links there. NCAA has some great information about all the member institutions, as well as where they can go to find out more information about each of them. US Ski and Snowboard manages a collegiate website, and USCSA also manages a lot of information, again, that's very broadly based so that people can use it to make decisions that go beyond just attending a USCSA school as well. So with that, I believe it is time for us to break into our breakout rooms. So Megan, do we have the individual links for those?
I put them in the chat. Hopefully everybody can see the chat. Can you see
Okay.
that? I'm seeing nodding from the panelists, so I'm hoping that that means the same for everybody else. I'm going to stay on this for a bit, so if anybody has issues, you can come back in here and submit a Q&A if you're having issues accessing. You might not need the passcode, but copy that down in case you do. And those
Yeah.
are also going to be recorded.
Yep. Yeah. So just one other quick housekeeping thing. As you go into the breakout rooms, everyone will be able to speak. So please make sure you're muted when you're not speaking. We will be recording them all with the intent of posting them later. And then also, we will probably take about a 3-minute break now to let everyone get into the rooms. So take your time getting in there. And if you do have any questions, do feel free to send in a chat, and Megan and I can help with that. But each of the rooms will have some coaches in them, some student reps, and a moderator. And then we'll go over the exact specifics of each of the rooms once you get in there.
And they're
But
also scheduled to last, Jay, for another 2 hours or so. So don't feel like you're under pressure to talk for 2 hours, but that you need to end anytime soon either. So
great. Thanks for the info. Yeah, so with that, thank you all for attending this initial session, but we wanted to make sure we left plenty of time for a lot of questions in the breakout rooms. So please head on over to those rooms and we will see you there.